Hello and welcome to the Happy Healthcare Professionals live show. It's Wednesday. It's the live show. It's my favorite part of the week. I absolutely love this part of the week because I get to interview just amazing colleagues. If you are new to the show and you've never watched it before and you're probably thinking, what on earth is Kamal banging on about? Well, this is the Happy Healthcare Professionals live show. It's the show where I interview colleagues about their careers, their career stories, their learnings, their challenges, and hopefully give you some inspiration as to what you can achieve with your career and really start to live a life like a happy healthcare professional. Now, if you don't know who I am, let me introduce myself. My name is Kamal. I am a former national level pharmacist turned career coach and business strategist for pharmacy professionals. I absolutely love helping pharmacy professionals to reinvent their careers, to create a career that they feel absolutely fulfilled by and that they can make a real impact on other people through. So I love this show and I love interviewing the people on this show. And today is an extra special show for me because I have got one of my amazing clients that I've been working with who I'm going to be talking to today. She is just an absolutely incredible pharmacist. And if you are joining us live, then do say hi in the comments and let me know where you are joining us from. And if you watch this back again later on, then you can always drop a little hashtag replay and leave me your biggest takeaways from this conversation. So let me introduce Mahira. She is a clinical pharmacist who has had years of experience in various settings, but she is now the clinical operations manager at Doctor Care Anywhere, which is an online platform for healthcare. And she is just such an inspirational pharmacist. And I cannot wait for you to learn more about her and for her to share her story. So without further ado, let me bring Mahira on screen. Hello.
Hi, Paul. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. Hi, Janice. Janice is here joining us. Thank you so much for joining us live, Janice. Mahira, tell everyone about yourself because, you know, I obviously know you from having worked with you, but, you know, tell those who are watching about your pharmacy career story.
So it's had so many turns in it. Just when I thought that it wouldn't change anymore, it suddenly does, and life shows you so many opportunities. And a huge believer in, like, you know, putting positivity out there, and then the universe just showing you endless doors, which is lovely. So I'm a community pharmacist by background. I did my pre-reg with Boots, and I started down that whole community route, did store management with Boots, did a couple of other high street chains, and after marriage I found myself in central London, locumed for a bit, couldn't get used to the underground, so I had to go back to store management because I just was getting lost. And then I had a bit of a career break as I had my children, and after I had both my children, I decided to go back to work. I realized that, or I was given an opportunity to apply for a role within a GP practice, and I wasn't really aware of what the role itself would be, but it was just that, you know, the hours fit perfectly with school life, and I thought, oh, I can do this. So I did. So I applied for the job and I got the role, and as it turned out, it happened to be that first cohort of pharmacists that were going through being prescribing pharmacists through the NHS. And so I studied at Reading University and met some absolutely amazing people while I was studying that, some allied healthcare professionals, you know, across the board, which was amazing. So I did my prescribing course with them, and I was in GP practice for just over 5.5 years. And the reason then I decided to take the change was after 5.5 years, I thought I just wanted to be around my kids a bit more. I was loving GP life, being in a GP practice and all the challenges that it brought. And I was lucky enough to be in a very large practice that would give you the opportunity to keep growing and trying new things. And it wasn't a practice that was going to say no. It was a practice of let's try. And, you know, I was able to I was able to run methadone substance misuse clinics, which was really challenging, but something that not many had the opportunity to be able to do. So counted my blessings for that. But then after a while, so after 5.5 years, I wanted to be at home with the kids. So I decided to pack it in and thought, oh, I'll be at home a bit more. It lasted all of 6 weeks. And then I thought I needed to keep myself busy and occupy myself a bit more. And I actually somehow, this was in 2020, I applied for a digital pharmacist role online through LinkedIn for a company which doesn't operate anymore in the UK, but it does operate in Europe. And I was effectively doing what I do in a GP clinical setting, but I was doing it virtually. And this is pre-COVID. So at the time, it felt very new and very different. And then COVID came along, and suddenly it was something that was needed. It was absolutely vital to be able to make sure that, you know, we could still continue to provide care to patients in that NHS setting as they needed it. But unfortunately, that company then shut down its UK operations arm, and in September of last year, I was looking for another role. And I thought I really did enjoy the digital experience. It allowed me to be, we're probably hopefully going to talk about this a little bit more, Cornwall, but it allowed me to be that one person. So it allowed me to be a mum and be working up as a pharmacist and be a wife and be a daughter. So all of that, I was in the same space doing it. So I knew that digital space was where I wanted to be doing this. I ended up actually after that company shut down, I ended up landing a role for clinical operations manager for medicines management here at Dr. Care Anywhere. And that was in September. And the opportunities that I've had to grow and to learn along the way, and to realize that it doesn't just end with, at first I thought community pharmacy, so behind the counter, you know, that was as far as it goes, in the consultation room. But actually then I thought, oh, you know, clinical pharmacist, this is it. You know, you become a clinical pharmacist in that setting, and you run chronic disease condition clinics, and this is it, this is where it ends. But actually now it's putting together all those experiences along the way and trying now to create something and present it in a fashion which is, we can provide healthcare and we can do it really well. And what I'm really passionate about is being that advocate for those allied healthcare professionals to be able to say that, you know, there is so much that we can do and provide, and create that opportunity for them to be able to provide that care. Hi, Hannah.
Just come in. I love Hannah. Two amazing female pharmacy powerhouses. So are you, Hannah. So are you. Thank you so much for joining us. I mean, you know, there's so much in what you've described. You know, there are others who will have been through experiences that you went through and said, this is it for me. You know, you just touched upon that. You know, you go into community pharmacy, you think you're going to be in that for the rest of your life. You go into GP practice and you think that's it, that's the be all and end all, right? But there are so many others that are probably currently in that position thinking, is this it for me? But you chose to challenge that thinking, and you chose to really put yourself out there.
I don't know if I chose to challenge myself, but I know that I got to that point where I was like, I've got really itchy feet. What should I do next? And then it's sort of like onto the next sort of thing to try and find to do. And then challenges sort of come your way. And I think I do have to shout out, I think I am really lucky to have such a supportive family to be able to say at every single step of the way, they've never said, you can't do this. I mean, I think my husband's probably one of my biggest cheerleaders, always saying, you can do this. Oh, you can do that. Oh, you know, so that's been, nobody gets anywhere on their own. You know, we're all coming with a whole village pushing us and supporting us forward. So yeah.
Tell me a little bit about this transition from being, you know, an in-person pharmacist to being an online pharmacist, because I'm sure that there will be others who are watching this, or who maybe watch this later on thinking, you know, I really want to get into the online space, but I don't know how. How do you navigate that?
So the funny thing is, I was that pharmacist. I was the pharmacist which was how do I navigate myself into a position which will allow me to be around my kids and around my family more? Because I had done the commute up and down the M4 when there's traffic work on there, and being, 45 minutes one way, 45 minutes another, always thinking I've got somewhere else to be. And I knew I needed to create something that allowed me to be that better person in every situation. And I don't know how I did it, if I'm honest. And in all honesty, I think it was a case of getting to know LinkedIn last year a lot, surfing LinkedIn, looking up people's profiles, messaging people on LinkedIn. And I did do that a lot. I reached out a lot on LinkedIn. I made some amazing friends on LinkedIn, some wonderful colleagues, got, really inspiring people that I've met through LinkedIn. I haven't had the fortune to meet in person, you being one of them. I haven't had the fortune to meet in person, but being able to use LinkedIn as that network and try to find a niche. And I think the really interesting thing was, when I was looking for my next opportunity, it was a case of this. It wasn't a case of, in the traditional sense of when I might have previously looked for a role, you look for an advertised role and then you apply for that. This was a case of, a role was advertised, but I would directly message and I would say, this is what I can do and this is what my CV says, and I'm really interested in your role. So without hitting the apply button and doing the forms, I was actually inquiring a bit more and trying to make those connections a bit more. I don't think it got me into any of the positions where I am, but it certainly did help me create this wonderful network and gave me the opportunity of where I think I might have previously thought, oh, I can't do that. Gives you that courage, gives you that peer support as well, to just think, well, actually, this is possible. And these are also things that can be done. And just surrounding yourself with those like-minded people to help drive you and push you forward certainly does help.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you've talked about LinkedIn, because obviously I'm a huge advocate of it.
Yeah.
And I think it is one of the best platforms that we can use to, to really connect and network. And it's similar to you, I've met some amazing people through LinkedIn. And forged some incredible relationships, Hannah being one of them, and, Janice I have met in person because we have worked together before when I was at PSNC, but, so many amazing pharmacists that you can connect with, and businesses, organizations that you can connect with, that, if you are aligned to, you can end up working for them and creating something for yourself, like exactly like you have. So talk a little bit about your first few months at Doctor Care Anywhere and how we kind of came to being,
Yeah, absolutely. So Doctor Care Anywhere is a telemedicine's healthcare provider. And it does operate on an international level. When I joined, it is still going through from strength to strength. But in the time that I've been there, I don't know if it's doubled, but it's grown at such a gigantic speed. It's a huge speed that it's grown with. And when I came on board with Doctor Care Anywhere, I was the pharmacist that was now responsible for all things medicines management, so all things prescriptions, and they were looking to me to be able to provide them with that subject matter expertise in terms of how to handle prescriptions and medicines, and which is all great. I mean, it's something that as pharmacists do, but the part which for me was the that initial, like, oh gosh, where have I landed, was, well, actually, this isn't the NHS. This isn't just the United Kingdom. This is now international. This is private. These are patients who may not have, we don't have, like, they may not have an NHS GP. My sister's here, so I don't know if you can hear any noise in the background.
Don't worry. No, it's fine. I've just had my little one actually opening the door to the bedroom, because she's like,
you might see my nephew popping in a minute. So I think one of the first challenges was just realizing, how do I apply? I'm a pharmacist, and I thought I had all the knowledge within me to do the role. But my first fearful thought was, how do I do this role? And the part for me which took a couple of weeks to get, I'm not going to lie, it took me a couple of weeks to kind of think, I had panic attacks and think, oh my gosh, those moments where you think, I can't do this. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do this, and I don't know how I'm going to do this. There wasn't anywhere to go to get an answer, because this is very much new, innovative, new stuff that's coming on. So how do you stay ahead of that and make sure that, you know, you give advice which isn't going to endanger somebody, which is going to make sure that what you do is legal, and continue to provide safe framework around healthcare that's being provided to patients. So it took me a couple of months before I suddenly realized, actually, one of my colleagues said, I asked her a question and she rephrased the question back to me, and she said, so what's the worst that could happen? And then I paused, because I was like, oh, and then she was like, she was a doctor. I said, oh, she is a doctor. She said, what's the worst that could happen? And I was like, okay. And that made me think about the situation I was asking her advice for very differently. And very quickly, I was then able to consider what the solution would be. And I'd then spoken about, this is what, okay, so this is the worst that could happen, but we would do this, and this is how we would protect ourselves, this is how we protect our patients. And it was a whole new way of thinking that I've been fortunate enough to be able to adopt here at Dr. Care Anywhere. And I think that was the biggest challenge that I had. It was having to take off that NHS hat.
Yeah.
That was quite hard to take that off, and then be able to think a bit broadly, a bit more freely.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
You know, it's interesting you say that, because I've heard that from other people that I've interviewed about, you know, especially, you know, because Nabila comes to mind whenever I think of digital, because obviously, you know, she's the director of pharmacy at Babylon. So, you know, obviously she comes to mind, but, you know, she talked about this as well when I interviewed her, and she talked about this concept of, you know, you really have to reflect, and, you know, you're really thinking about things from lots of different angles, which historically you may not have had to do.
Yes. So, you know, absolutely, I completely agree with Nabila. I've got an awful lot of respect for Nabila. So hi, Nabila, if you're watching. But absolutely, you know, you've got to think a bit more pragmatically. So if there is anybody out there who's thinking about, you know, entering the digital world, I wouldn't say don't do it if you don't think this way, because I think the opportunity that the digital healthcare realm offers is that opportunity, which you may not find in other work roles. So where within the NHS your role is a bit more structured, here it may not be structured, and it may be up to you to create that role. You may come across a company and they say, we need a pharmacist, but it's up to you now to create that role. Which, if it is, my advice to whoever, if you do get given the opportunity, grab it with both hands and learn along the way and just do it. And then, you know, you'll soon realize we actually do have a lot, if not all, of what we need to be great within ourselves already. We just need to be able to tap into it, and with a little bit of guidance. So I reached out to Cornwall for some guidance. And the reason I reached out to Cornwall for some guidance and how we met was I'd been watching Cornwall on YouTube and on LinkedIn and following her. And I realized that, or I felt that I was now no longer in an NHS structure, but in a corporate environment. And it knocked my confidence a little bit. And I wanted to be able to rebuild my confidence, to be able to interact in a way that would do my role justice, but do my profession justice, and then do myself justice. And so I reached out to you to say, I need help. I would love to be able to flourish in this role. So can you help me to do better? Sometimes we all need help. We all need help at times. Yeah,
absolutely. But, you know, you took that first step in recognizing that you actually needed that help, and reaching out and saying, you know what, I'm gonna grab this opportunity, you know, and help is always out there.
Yes.
You know, it is, in whatever shape or form you need it. The help is always out there, but it's about you accepting that you need that help, and actually saying, yeah, you know what, now's the time that I need to focus on this.
I think one of the other striking things, which I only realized after you had mentioned it to me, was to reach out to your network. And you won't realize the help that's in your network until you do actually reach out to them. And so thank you for doing that, because I've got an amazing network. But to think that actually, you know, should we reach out and be vulnerable and tell the other person that, you know, we are vulnerable and we are looking to get a little bit of help. How do we do that? But yeah, so I did, and that was another way to be able to tap into what you already have. You just need sometimes other people to sometimes highlight or just show you how to do it in a slightly different way for a slightly different outcome.
So talk a little bit about what's happened over the course of the time that we've been working together, because, you know, where were you at the beginning and where are you now?
Yeah, so I think in such very different places, two very different places. I think just firstly being able to recognize that one of the biggest takeaways I watched the interview with you and Yusuf about being the one person at home and the one person at work and the one person when you're with your friends and with your family. And that for me really resonated so much that it was that interview that led me to actually reach out to you and think, how do you get rid of your to-do list? Because my to-do list was like 3 pages long every day. I'm starting and ticking off like tasks. Have I done these? You know, I'm writing all this stuff down. And you and Yusuf are saying, nope, get rid of that to-do list. And I was like, how? That petrified me, the thought of having to let go of my to-do list. But I was at a place where I thought I had so much to do. I didn't feel I had the confidence with which to do the job. I didn't feel I felt I could do the job. I was capable of doing the job, but the delivery I thought was where I was lacking. So communication, I wouldn't speak up in meetings. I'd be really quiet and timid. You're surrounded by all these finance people and business executives and directors, and I would just sit there really quietly and think, oh, I don't want to say anything, because if they ask a question and I don't know the answer there, you know, it's all going to go Pete Tong and all of this. But you know, getting that confidence to think, you know, you are there because you are trusted to be able to have that knowledge and to think, and it's okay to say, let me think about that and I will come back to you with an answer. You know, nobody's expecting answers from you immediately or straight away. So that was a big source of comfort. And then when I reached out to you, and you know, we've put time together over a 12-week period. I mean, for me, those 12 weeks, I was petrified that, oh my gosh, what am I going to do when the 12 weeks end? So my first question to you was, what do we do at the end of the 12 weeks? And how does this happen? And how does this work if I still need you? And you were like, let's get through the 12 weeks, and then we'll have that conversation. You're very calm, demeanor man. I was like, okay. We went through the 12 weeks, and it was such, it is still ongoing, but such a period of personal growth. And I don't think it was professional growth, because I genuinely believe this was growth across all aspects of my life. So you taught me, I mean, one of the best things you can give somebody, I've said this to you, so I'll say this here, one of the best things you could possibly gift somebody is time. And you gifted me time, literally, and that's not a joke, but you were able to show me how to make better use of my time, and where we all have that guilt for whatever reason, that, you know, if we work late one evening, or you know, if we end up doing something on a Saturday because we couldn't fit it in on a weekend, or if we're missing our kids' matches and things, you were able to show me where I actually managed to free myself from that mum guilt. I freed myself from that guilt, as you know, from all aspects. And on my calendar, I now know where I'm spending my time.
Yeah.
And I feel good about it. I'm planning my time. I'm planning the time for my family. We all know what's happening, where things are going. And I don't feel bad about, oh, you know, I didn't go to this or I didn't go to that, because actually we are forward planning in the future and can see we have things coming up. There are things to look forward to. And in terms of work, being able to manage your work and actually block out time. I'm a key advocate of working remotely from home. Is very difficult. It's challenging. There's an awful lot of distractions around. You have to be disciplined. But the calendar is something that really helps me manage my day and deliver. So where I was in the very beginning when I started with Dr. Care Anywhere, I didn't want to put blocks in my calendar and say no meeting please, because visually at the beginning it looked like she's not doing any work, so she's not in a meeting, so where is she? Whereas now I will look at my calendar at the beginning of a week, and where there are big blocks I will block them out and I'll say no meetings please, because that's my time for me to get my job done, to get what my responsibilities are, to make sure I deliver on my deliverables and do those. Out of managing your workload, one of the things I love doing, Tuesdays for me are back-to-back meetings. I don't mind. I used to in the beginning, I used to think, oh my gosh, it's back to me. I don't mind, because I know Tuesdays end up being back-to-back meetings, but the rest of the week I will block out time where I know that I will be head down trying to get stuff done. I will organize my meetings so that even if they do end up back-to-back, like mornings or afternoons, I will group them together to allow me to get the most out of my time. That will help me be the better professional. That would help me be better prepared.
You know that the calendar is a consequence of how you have built your personal confidence about yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Because the calendar is a reflection of you.
Yeah.
You know, and that only comes from, you know, there's we've talked about this in, you know, in your coaching sessions, but it's about you really kind of setting your own boundaries.
Yes.
Right. And being clear with what those are for yourself. And that requires confidence and courage. And when you do that, people respect those.
I'm so glad you said courage, because it really does. In the very beginning, I was so wobbly about, no, I can't do that because that's not how it should be seen to be done. But actually, it takes courage to be able to say, if you respect something, others will respect it also. So the moment you respect yourself, you respect your time, people will start to respect you. I mean, the whole concept of managing your time, I've applied it across the board throughout, you know, through my life. So I do it with my husband, whereas previously, I mean, a perfect example is if he asked me a question, I would jump and I would say, oh yeah, let me find the answer, I'll tell you. Whereas now, if I'm in work, not that he distracts me from work, we're both working remotely, the whole world is, but if we're in work and if you ask a question, I have the courage and the confidence to say with love that you do need this answer now, or is this an answer you're looking for that we can maybe discuss at the weekend? Yeah. Whereas, you know, people work very differently, and it's just about being able to, I've marked my calendar, so I know when I'm in work on my calendar or I'm at work in my calendar. So if it's to do with the kids at home, you know, there's a space that we will do and discuss that. And having the courage to respect that time will then mean that others will then start to respect that time, and it works in a really lovely. It's not mean, it's not rude, it's not disrespectful. You know, it is him suddenly realize, oh yeah, you know, and he's really supportive. So it is actually, yeah, okay, no, this can wait, this can wait.
Yeah, absolutely. What's been your biggest transformation that you feel you've had? And you've talked about it a bit with the calendar, but you know, what would you say to somebody who is, you know, in the position now where they might be in a new role, or they might be thinking about going into a new role and they're just not sure at all? What would you say to that person?
I would say, if you're thinking about it, there is something inside of you that says you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is so much that's happened in the last few months that has really made me reflect on, there is a greater power out there, and he does have, you know, our best interest at heart, and all we need to do is show up to be the best that we can be in that time. If there is, we don't all know everything about everything, but it's about having the courage and the confidence to be able to say, this is what I do know, and this is what I'm going to go away and find out about, and having the courage to be able to say, this is what I've learned along the way, because we're all learning as we go through the journey through life. It's not easy to make change, and it does take courage. But I would say, if anyone does feel like they don't have the courage, to just reach out to their network, because guaranteed their network will say that they can do it. And it's sometimes we all just need that little bit of a nudge to just say, you know, you are awesome. You can do it, and show the world just how awesome you are.
Definitely. 100%. And what would you say to somebody who wants to have coaching, or
do it,
or not or isn't even sure whether it's the right thing for them?
So coaching, I thought about, like, should I, shouldn't I? What does it mean? Is it going to make me less of a professional? Or I'm starting to sweat now. So I start tripping.
I know. Tell me about it. Go on.
Oh God. But coaching only adds, and if you get a great coach like Cornwall, she will make you think, she will make you work hard. You will have to, there's weeks when I turned up and was like, oh, I haven't done this, or I haven't done that. And you know, she's not going to come down in like a house of bricks, but you know, there's someone there to make you accountable for your growth. That's what you want. You want someone to help you, because we can all go through life through personal growth, but what coaching will do is help speed it up, and it will help guide it. It will help align you to where you want to be, and help you think about what you think is important. I know 12 weeks later, Cornwall, I'm a different person, because I feel so much more aligned to what I feel is my purpose in life, which doesn't revolve around my family, but my purpose as a human being on planet Earth. What is my contribution? And I feel that after having met you, I have now got some of the tools, not all, some of the tools to help me deliver. I have done some of the growth. There is still a lot of growth and still a lot of the road to be traveled. But I think that having met you allows me to be that person I want to be. We all have dreams and aspirations. And at the beginning, we talked about how my career journey changed quite a bit. So from community to GP, and then it just kept moving along, which was part of me. I think I do find after having met you, I know that I need to be challenged. If I'm not being challenged, I will leave a situation. I will feel like, right, I've done everything that I need to do here. You know, I managed a couple of stores, did really well, got a couple of awards, you know, and I moved on. And I moved on to the next high street chain. And I got married and I moved on. And then I moved into GP surgery. And then I carried on that development until I thought, now there isn't any more left for me to do. You know, I'm almost, what else can I do to challenge myself? And so I thought, well, actually, I won't work, and so I'll spend time with the kids. You know, I'm challenging myself differently. And now I'm in that position where I'm not practicing pharmacy in that typical sense where you might think a medicines management pharmacist is. Mm-hmm. Instead, my challenge is now, my daily drive is to make sure that when we're delivering we don't even offer, so we offer prescriptions. We don't have a dispensary, we don't dispense medication, we don't deliver. But my responsibility is to ensure that when we're prescribing on that international level, we're doing it safely. Those are huge challenges. The biggest challenge that came was when Brexit happened, and then there were so many changes all of a sudden that started to happen across Europe. It was trying to stay on top of that. And only being in the job for 3 months, I was panicking like nobody, like how are we supposed to do this? But then reaching out to your network and realizing that there are organizations out there and there is guidance, you know, having the confidence to be able to say, it's okay not to know everything. It's okay not to have all the answers, but what you never want to lose, or I would never want to lose, is you don't want to stop trying. And as pharmacists, we're super diligent. I mean, it's ingrained in us, isn't it? Just to make sure that we leave at the end of the day and everything is perfect, it's done. So that challenge of making sure and applying that onto telemedicines is on a 24/7 business is much, much bigger or different. You want to make sure that things don't slip when you're not there, and being able to create that space for yourself to be able to do what you need to do well, while still being able to be there to guide others as they need it.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen your growth, and I've seen how your confidence has literally skyrocketed over the 3 months that we've been working together. And I've seen how you've really stepped into your own. Like, you are the leader of pharmacy within Doctor Care Anywhere. That is you. You've really stepped into that role, but you've also aligned it with your personal mission.
Yes.
And that is the thing that I think I've actually loved seeing that transformation in you, because that realization for you was like, do you know the thing that I really want to do? I can actually do it here.
Yes. I remember having that conversation with you, and that eureka moment, like you were asking me, like, each week you go through the thoughts of what were your takeaways, what your learnings, your big wins for the week, and starting small and thinking, I just need to get to next week. Come on. Next week. And ending up thinking even bigger, and being thinking on such a bigger scale, bigger than the company you're within, and thinking, how can where you are help propel what your personal mission in life is, and making sure that the role that you're in aligns to your personal mission in life. And when it does, and that spark ignites and the passion starts to come out, that's where the confidence all starts to come from. And that for me was my biggest takeaway, was having the confidence. The moment that happened, I started behaving differently. The moment I knew that my role, my job that I was being paid a salary for, aligned to my personal mission that I thought was my purpose in life, for me, suddenly it was like, oh, we're in a whole new gear now.
Yeah.
And now we need to get going.
Oh, it's just, you know what? It just makes me so, so happy to see that. And, that is the essence of being a happy healthcare professional.
Yeah.
When those two things align, when your personal mission, and, we had the BAME Female Pharmacist Leaders meetup last night, and we had Samrina and Alison Hemsworth, right, on that. And, Samrina talked about, her deep passion for patient safety and tech, and those two things. And that's what's driving her. And she's so aligned to that. And the same with you. You're so aligned to what you want to achieve that actually nothing's going to stop you from achieving that.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely true. And I think that the moment you realize your mission and what's true, what's really important to you. So for me, it was all about when I realized, and that in itself is what a coach can help. Because I didn't know what my mission was in the beginning. I think it was something quite not as awesome as it is now back then. But now, when I think about it, we changed it as we went through, and suddenly what I realized, what I thought was my mission, was actually just a stepping stone to get to what my mission was. That's all it was. It wasn't actually my mission. My mission in life actually was much bigger. It still is much bigger. It's to be able to deliver healthcare to those who need it the most in the world. And how can we enable that and make people throughout that process, from start to finish, feel good about themselves? And that includes all the different touch points, the clinicians, all the people that are going to deliver it, all the people that are going to support the delivery of it, as well as the patients. How are we going to create something that's going to enable equal access to all? And we've seen such inequality in the last 18 months across the world that it's just helped me drive that. Having met you, Cornwall, I count myself really lucky to think, well, actually, I met you at a time when I saw something and thought, I want to be a part of the change. And you helped me identify what my mission was, helped me to grow that and realize, and gave me, the biggest thing I think was, you gave me confidence to be able to accept that as the mission, and to be able to accept that and say, well, actually, it is this big, and it can be even bigger if you want it to be. So think as big as you want, because when you do, things start opening up for you. If you're serious and you're passionate and, you know, you really want to make that change. I love being a pharmacist. I couldn't imagine myself being anything else if I wasn't a pharmacist. My kids ask me all the time, but if I'm honest, I give them funny answers. But if I'm honest, I think deep down, I am a pharmacist. I was meant to be a pharmacist. This is where I'm meant to be. Now I need to make sure that I use my wonderful network around me to be able to propel me and take my network with me. And I think that's one of the other biggest thing when you have a coach, you want to do more for others. I know you've done so much for me that I feel I want to do the same for my network. And so the wonderful colleagues that I work with, you know, to be able to be who I would love to be for them, who I would love someone to be for me.
Yeah.
And that's really important, but that takes some time for you to be able to you have to make sure, you know, you're constantly checking back, you're constantly checking in with others that you might be okay with growing at the speed and pace that you are and change, but you need to make sure that your team, the people that you are taking on this ride with you, are they okay too?
100%. 100%. You know, that's what true leaders are. Right?
Yeah.
You know, they and Janice will be able to, you know, is a testament to that, right? You're a true leader is someone who wants to see the best in others.
Yeah.
They want to see the best coming out in others.
Yeah.
And they're willing to put their best out there.
Yeah.
And you know, and they're gonna, and you know, we talked about, I want to touch on this really quickly because this was a really important conversation that we had. And you talked about the type of leader that you wanted to be.
Yeah.
Right. And we can often look at other people, you know, in all of our careers, our leadership gauge are the people who lead us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Yes.
And so, you know, and so through the journey of your career, you'll learn what you like about a leader and what you don't like about a leader, and you know, the characteristics of a leader that you'd like to have, you know, you'd like to take on, the characteristics that you don't particularly like, and the rest of it, right? But tell me what you learned about leadership.
One of the funniest things that I think I learned about being a leader, I really admire one of my colleagues. I think she is an absolute legend. And the way she carries herself and the way she can capture an audience, a mixed audience, I was in awe. I still am in awe of how she does it. I thought I would have to be like that, which is a very different personality type to me. I'm very like, oh, hi, da, da, da. Maybe I'm calming down a little bit now, but I thought that it meant your personality has to slot into that personality, that you have to copy that. But what my learning actually was, she's really confident in being herself. She has aligned her true self to her mission. That's what she's bringing every day to work. She has a mission. That's what she's bringing every day. And that's actually what we're seeing every day. That's what we're seeing. And that's why she's so good at commanding everybody's attention. It is because everybody believes when she's speaking that, you know, it is coming from a place of truth and a place of vision. So for me, the moment I realized that was when my biggest change happened, because the moment I realized what my mission was, and when I speak at work about the roles and the opportunities and advocating other allied healthcare professionals, I realized that that's where my confidence would come from. And I think people, I hope I know people started to notice that. It's not easy to be able to make that recognition. That was hard. It was quite hard because we always think, you know, people are great speakers. You look at Barack Obama, you know, he's amazing with words. Some people have an absolute awesome presence. I mean, you know, you're in the company of somebody and you're just in awe just because of their presence. But actually, it's because they're so aligned with what they believe that's what you're in awe of. being able to deliver that, the delivery of that will then come.
Yeah.
When you've got the confidence to believe that what you have to say is worthy of another person's time, because time is so valuable. When you believe that it is worthy of their time, you will deliver it with confidence.
That is such an important learning. It's such an important lesson that you've just shared.
Yeah.
You know, that leadership really comes from alignment, and
Yeah.
knowing what your own mission is. And I'm so excited about your mission. I'm so excited about what you can potentially achieve. And and I've said this to you many times, I cannot wait to see what you achieve, because it's honestly going to be just incredible. And I believe this of every pharmacist, every pharmacy professional. It is possible.
Yes, absolutely.
And you're living proof of it. And I mean, I could go on this conversation, but what would be if there was one thing that you can give to somebody watching this today, what would that, how does a person become a happy healthcare professional?
I just saw Yusuf on there. Hi, Yusuf. I think as healthcare professionals, we have a responsibility. As a healthcare professional, we've got a responsibility. And I think one of the things is that as pharmacists, as a profession, we already have that responsibility, that leadership. It's already there. We already do it. What sometimes we don't recognize is that we are doing it. And sometimes what we don't recognize is the days that we're not so good at it. Why were we not so good at it? It's probably because we didn't lead people how we wanted to be led. And the days we do great at it, why did we do great at it? It's because we looked after those that were around us. A leader's nobody if they're on their own, right? You're just on your own. And being a leader, I mean, I think I started this journey with you that I wanted to get to a certain level within the company. I think within a couple of weeks, I quickly realized it wasn't about getting to a certain level with the company. It was actually about being able to be the very best that I could bring to every day, because we are actually all capable of great things. And I think that's the thing, that when you realize you can actually, if you let go of that vulnerability and you start to just hone in on some skills that sometimes you might not be aware of. There was so much I wasn't aware of until I met you, and pointing those things out and, giving direction and guidance. We all need a little bit of guidance sometimes. And it's not even a case of, so I wouldn't want someone to think that as a coach, you're guiding someone, this is what you need to do, and this is what you need to, no. You're asking them questions to make them think about the path that they want to forge for themselves ahead. And that path is then forged by yourself. So me, I forged my own path. I realized where it is that I want to go, what it is that I want to do and achieve, and how can I do that? And how can I achieve that? And the best part about meeting Ikamal was how to achieve that holistically as a whole person, not just in my career here at DCA, but as a whole person. How would I love to be able to achieve? And so I think that's really important. And I think that's something that coaching can bring to every professional. To be a happy healthcare professional, you're aligned to your mission. You wake up, you recognize that this day is going to be tough, or there may be challenges, or there's going to be some questions I'm not going to know the answer to, but you're a happy healthcare professional because you can bring your best to that table. And it's okay to say that I don't know the answer to this one, or even to say there isn't an answer to this one, and then have the confidence to be able to forge through and create that answer. Find out what the solutions are. One example, I think, after I met you, was what we thought might have been, a disaster, actually we turned it into a positive.
Yeah.
And it was because you're able to suddenly step back and think, how can we make this better? And by making this better, not for this one person, but better for all of our patients, how can we make this better for all of our patients? We end up with a new process overnight. Within a couple of weeks, we end up with a new process.
It's incredible. It's really, really incredible what that reflection can do.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, I can't thank enough. I mean, Yusuf, I learn so much from him every single time he speaks. And we've quoted you already several times, Yusuf. I mean, Hala's, I'm going to go through the comments here as well, because Hala said something about the color coding. I love color coding the calendar entries to get rid of even more mum guilt, because you can see exactly how much time you're enjoying with your family. And Janice has said, great idea. And it is, Janice. I highly recommend it. You know, Yusuf is a big advocate of it. I've converted Mahira now. You know, and you know, my calendar's coded as well, color coded, and it is a game changer, absolute game changer. But you know, I learned from you guys. Bless him. You know what? This is what I just absolutely love about, you know, having spent the time on LinkedIn and connected with people and finding those like-minded people that believe in you and that believe in the same vision that you have for yourself. And, you know, I am so proud of you. And I honestly feel so honored to have had the opportunity to work with you, because, you know, I've seen your growth and it's just been absolutely fantastic. And I can't thank you enough for allowing me, you know, to be able to do that for you. And so, yeah, you know, anyone that wants to get in touch with Mahira, how do we get in touch with you?
Yes, I'm on LinkedIn. So feel free to reach out. I do message, you know, people reach out all the time. So get in touch via LinkedIn. Absolutely. More than happy to speak to you about anything and everything under the sun. So if there's anything I can do to help anybody, it would be my pleasure, absolute pleasure. And Cornwall, I think I count you as one of the blessings in my life, because through you, I've met so many amazing people, you know, and I don't think I would have otherwise. So thank you for teaching me so much in such a short space of time.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure. And, you know, like I said, I cannot wait to see where you go. It's just so exciting. I'm so excited by what you're going to achieve. And you know, I just, yeah, I you know, you're a friend for life. So, you know, we're part of each other's network now. And now I actually have to meet you in person.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Thank you so much, Mahira, for your time today. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on here and sharing so honestly your experience. And I am sure that others are going to find it so interesting to hear about your experience of moving into the digital space and now having, you know, your mission around supporting those that need healthcare and bringing it to the masses. And that's just such an amazing mission. And I can't wait to see that come to fruition. So thank you so much. And I will see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So that was the Happy Healthcare Professionals live show. Thank you guys so much for all of your comments and for joining me live today. And, you know, if you're watching this back on the replay, then do say hi in the comments and do drop me, you know, what your biggest takeaways have been. It's been such a pleasure to have Mahira here and, you know, share her story with you guys. And, you know, to see her growth is just phenomenal. And I am so proud of her. And we talked about LinkedIn quite a bit. So if you are interested in really using LinkedIn to your benefit, and you're a pharmacy professional and you don't know where to start and you don't know how to do that, then I am running a LinkedIn masterclass for pharmacy professionals, which is happening on Monday, the 26th in the evening at 7:30 p.m. It's an hour and a half. It's jam-packed. Janice is going to be joining us. There's going to be lots of other healthcare professionals, pharmacy professionals that are going to be joining us. We are going to be going through your LinkedIn profile. I'm going to be talking you through what you should do, what are the right sections to have, what are the sections you don't necessarily need but you might want to have, How do you network on LinkedIn? And how do you build those connections? Because I guarantee you, when you start doing it, you are going to skyrocket your career trajectory. So you're going to find opportunities that you did not even know existed. Mahira is testament to that. And so am I. And so are so many other pharmacy colleagues. So if you are interested in that, then do join. A link is on my profile. You can go and check it out. And if you've got any questions, then just drop me a message. And I will see you guys next week. Now, I say next week, but actually there is another Happy Healthcare Professionals live going live tomorrow, in fact, at 1 o'clock with Mina. Mina is a hospital pharmacist, and she is really, really big on sustainability in pharmacy. And I can't wait to have the conversation with her. It's going to be at 1 o'clock tomorrow. So do join me there then if you can. And I will see you then. Take care all. Bye.